president was asked about it and brought it up twice during his, how long was that line? It was at least an hour plus. It was an hour plus with President Trump. How he has the energy, I don't know, man. How he has the energy, I don't know. So here's what happened. There was a horrific plane crash in India. And this plane crash was a Boeing 787. This crash happened right after the plane had left the runway. It had 242 souls on board. The death toll is now at 290, horrifically, creeping up to the 300 people mark due to the fact that the plane crashed into buildings. Here's footage of the plane crash itself. It's a terrible fireball and explosion as the plane slammed into a series of taller towers moments after takeoff. It barely got a half a mile from the runway. What happened here? And more importantly, there was a survivor? Somebody survived that? This is insanity. Here's what we know right now. Man has escaped seat 11A, a British man who's a dual citizen of Britain and India. He walked away from that crash. This is incredible. I don't know how it's possible. But here we go. A British father miraculously walked away from the Air India plane disaster, which believed to have claimed the lives of at least 290 people, according to the authorities in India. His name is Vishwash Ramesh. He's 40 years old. He spoke from the safety of a hospital bed hours after making an incredible walk away from the doomed flight that was going to Gatwick. This is an airport in London. It's called Flight 171 earlier today. Astonishing footage showed the passenger with visible injuries hobbling away from the scene of the crash. He reportedly sustained injuries to his chest, eyes, and feet. Police found the passenger, who had been in seat 11A when the jet came down, in a residential area. It had been transferred him to a nearby hospital for treatment. 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise and the plane crashed. It all happened so quickly, he told the local media. When I got up, there were bodies all around me. I was scared. I stood up and ran. There were pieces of the plane all around me. Somebody grabbed hold of me and put me in an ambulance and brought me to the hospital. Mr. Ramesh lives in London with his wife and child. He was traveling home after seeing family in India when the plane crashed, hitting buildings housing doctors in the city of Ahmedabad. It's horrible. On the ground, police say that they found another survivor in the hospital struck by the plane. They confirmed the death toll climbed to 290 people, according to the police. Before the discovery of the British survivors, authorities said they believed no one had escaped alive. The plane had been carrying 244 passengers, according to the police. There were 53 British citizens on board, 159 Indian nationals, Portuguese and Canadian citizens as well. It's very much an international flight. Again, it was traveling to London. 11 of those on board were children, including 2 newborns. It's just terrible to hear. Rescue teams reported by the military have recovered 204 bodies at the scene. So far, casualties from the plane in the area surrounding the crash. Aviation experts say the Boeing 787 Dreamliner may have suddenly lost power at the most critical phase of the flight. Show me his seat. Show me his seat right there. There's where he was sitting. That's insane. Show me him walking away. This is wild. So here's this dude walking away. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the footage right here. Here he is. The guy in the white T-shirt that has all the smoke and scarring, blood on it. That dude is the astonishing survivor, lone survivor of this plane crash. Mr. Ramesh, he's 40. He's a dual Indian and British citizen. And he survived. I mean, you can see he sustained injuries to his face. He's obviously got beat up on the crash, but he is somehow, as the plane smashed into the building, survived. Remarkable. We have breaking news on this. Here's him potentially speaking to the media. Go.
Remarkable story of survival, it seems. We can now bring you a name that's been reported now by the Hindustan Times and other outlets now of that survivor, 40-year-old Vishwas Kumar Ramesh. There you see him in hospital, his face a bit bloodied and battered, but he was able to walk away from this Boeing 787 as it burst into flames. He was sat, we're told, in seat 11A. There are other images that show a man in a white T-shirt limping, but otherwise able to walk away from that scene, from that aircraft crash, with some blood stain on his white T-shirt, a bit of blackened suit, the odd mark on the white T-shirt, but really just able to walk away from that aircraft. So somehow he was flung free of the aircraft before it was engulfed in this fireball, and that millisecond before that happened. But he is a 40-year-old man.
Crazy. Just insane. How's it even possible? I don't know. You can see, again, like you can see the footage of the footage of the plane crash is just totally horrific. I mean, it's a massive fire. How any single human being survives this? How's that possible? How, not just survives, but walks away? You see footage of the aircraft, like littered all over. Like, how do you survive? Like, how is that possible? This is nuts. Here's the CCTV footage. Shows you exactly how doomed this plane was. It barely got lift, and then you can see it immediately lose power and collapse here. The plane goes for like a quarter mile and then crashes down. This is footage from the airport itself. And there it goes. And then it crashes into buildings, housing units, and other buildings. How do you survive? How do you survive that? That's wild. I don't know how it's physically possible. Is it a hoax? Just the amount of fuel, just the amount of this the heat from the explosion. Okay, crazy. Guy walks away. Listen to this.
NI speaking to NI on a phone call. Ahmedabad Police Commissioner says, GS Malik, the police have found one survivor in seat 11A. One survivor has been found in the hospital and is under treatment. Cannot say anything about the number of deaths yet. The death toll may increase as the flight crashed in a residential area. So that's the big news that we are getting at this moment. There is hope. One survivor has walked out unscathed.
How it's possible, I'm not sure. What the hell happened to this plane? Let's talk about this. It's a Boeing plane, 787. Preliminary flight tracking data from flight radar reveals the plane reached an altitude of 600 feet after takeoff, a height far below standard for a commercial aircraft, several minutes into departure. A former senior pilot told them that the footage shows a terrifying descent, looked like the case of multiple birds wherein both engines have lost power. Takeoff was perfect, he said, and I just believe that short of taking off, the gear of the aircraft started descending, which can happen in the case that engines lose power and the aircraft stops developing lift. Aviation expert Sanjay Lazar noted that the Dreamliner was only 11 years old, so unlikely to have underlying technical issues. The plane was under the command of Captain Sumit Subwar, who had nearly 10,000 hours of experience. It's a lot of flight time. A bird strike would explain why the aircraft did not have the power to lift. If there were multiple birds hit during takeoff, it probably could not have gone beyond 6 to 7 minute threshold before it started falling. The Pilots Forum aviation experts sounded the alarm, sounded like the plane's ram air turbine, RAT is what it's called, an emergency wind turbine, had deployed shortly before the crash. Okay. What is RAT? Air India B787, Boeing 787. Some people think they hear the characteristic sounds of a RAT, ram air turbine hydraulic energy pump, being deployed at the beginning of the crash video. And I agree. So you can see here what that looks like. It looks like there is a deployment of what is a safety system. Left antenna, right antenna, RAT, ram air turbine. What is this? A ram air turbine hydraulic energy pump seems to be deployed at the beginning of the crash video. This is what a RAT is from the Boeing company website. In flight, a RAT deploys automatically if any of the following occur. Both engines have failed, all three hydraulic system pressures are low, loss of electrical power to the captain's and first officer's flight instruments, loss of all four EMPs, faults of the flight's control system occur on approach, loss of all four EMPs and engine fails on takeoff of landing. The RAT can be deployed manually if necessary by pushing the ram air turbine switch in the hydraulic panel. I am not a professional pilot. However, what this says is that this is a safety and emergency system in case the plane loses power terminally and it begins to lose airspeed and altitude. So effectively, when both engines have failed, this is the deployment system. And airline experts are saying that they hear this system being deployed. Apparently there is something audible to it, and then you can see it up here, potentially in footage of the crash. Now, obviously, you have a situation here where a lot of people are wondering, like, one, how does some dude escape? Two, how did this happen in the first place, right? How does this happen? I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of flights a day all around the world. Many of those planes are Boeing planes. What's going on here? Is it pilot error or is it something more technical? Well, there's a survivor, I guess. I mean, again, I find it very hard to believe, but you can see here in the footage why I find that hard to believe, because you can see the size of the fireball alone would seem to indicate that there's no survivors, because how would the human body be able to withstand the heat there? You know, the temperatures there have got to be extraordinary inside of that fireball. You'd have to be inside the fireball. Again, miracles happen. Maybe it's a literal miracle. Apparently the guy is talking to the media and is explaining what happened. I want to just go over to this other Daily Mail article just to show you the wreckage. You know, you can see the wreckage here from the plane. You can see the tail. The plane crashed into the side of a building. You can see the tail sitting there hanging off the side of the building. And obviously everything just in ash. You know, so what you're looking at is the atomized fuselage of the plane. And you scroll down here and you can see some parts of the plane are still operational. This would be the tail of the plane. Not operational, but it hasn't been burned to a crisp. So maybe. I mean, there are visible parts of the plane that are, you know, that survived. Go down farther in the article, please. You can see a wing here. There's the wing of the aircraft, the tail of the aircraft. And I guess miracles do happen, right? So there's obviously the burning charred remains, but you can look here. There's the wing. And again, it's intact, I suppose. And here's the tail of the plane that is also relatively intact. I mean, you can see it. You know? So I don't know. This is insane. Miracle in seat 11A. British survivor walking away from the crash.